Have you been feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and under pressure recently? And do you ever look around your office, your house, and see all this clutter and feel even worse? In this video, I'm going to share my experience of using Marie Kondo's method for tidying and decluttering and what I learned about my life and myself in the process. So, I use decluttering as part of my manifestation process. I always see that as a really important step. You set your goal and then you clear the stuff that's in the way. And it doesn't really matter whether you're manifesting $100 or a whole new business or a brand new house. Clearing out things that are taking up space, keeping you tethered to a previous version of yourself, just holding you back and maybe keeping you small is a really important part of the manifestation process. It clears space, it allows a vacuum to open up so that the universe can respond and allow your manifestation to come into reality. So I've been using this technique as a part of my manifestation practice for a long, long time, and I've seen just how effective it can be. But every now and then, things just start slipping into my life and I start sitting on piles of stuff again. And subconsciously, I get tied to this stuff again. And I realized I needed to do that again recently. I was feeling quite stuck, quite indecisive, just blocked creatively, unable to make decisions, and just feeling overwhelmed in general. And I was looking around and seeing mess and clutter everywhere. And so when I notice these feelings coming up, I know I just need to have a good purge when I'm feeling like this, and I will feel so much better. So I find the two things often go hand in hand. I've got mess and I've got clutter, and I'm also feeling that overwhelm and lack of productivity in my mind. And it's like my inner world is starting to reflect my outer world and vice versa. I wonder if you can relate to that. Let me know in the comments. But last weekend anyway, I did a big project and I've been using this book, Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying is exactly what it's called. And ironically, I had this book before and I had decluttered it. And for whatever reason, the message in it didn't resonate with me before, but I've found myself having another copy of it now, looking into it and really, really enjoying the message in it. So it's a little bit different. And I think the difference this time around is that she talks about rebound clutter. So when I've used my normal decluttering techniques, what I've learned from other decluttering people, blogs and different YouTube channels, that's always about sorting by room, maybe emptying your room, sorting it into different boxes. But Marie Kondo's a little bit different. She talks about actually going by category, a very specific category, and not necessarily doing that by room. So for example, she talks about doing your wardrobe first. So you pull all of your clothes out of everywhere. You pull them out of your wardrobe, you pull them out of the wash. If you've got some laundry, you pull them out of your sports bag. Anywhere that can be closed, just get them all out into a humongous pile and start sorting from there. That was the process that I did the other day. So if you're interested, her process in terms of categories, she starts with the clothes and then she goes into books. So she doesn't just focus on one room. The next step for me will be to go into books, and it will be about taking it from my office, taking it from the bookshelf, taking it from the stack on my bedside table, from bags. So you do like a whole category at a time, and that's what makes it a little bit different. And she talks about going through these various different categories and sorting it in a way that when you pick up an item, you ask yourself if it sparks joy. And if the answer is no, you trust and let go of that item. So over time, as you do this process, you're surrounding yourself with things that spark joy. And yeah, it's very, very different from what I've done before. And she says that this stops the phenomenon of rebound clutter. And I think that's why this book resonated with me this time, because what I've noticed is since I've had a child and I've transitioned from having a fairly minimal space to having a family space with lots of toys and things like that, as soon as I get rid of stuff, it comes back. And I'm like, where does this come from? So she talks about rebound clutter in this. So I'm really hoping that this technique is going to help with that as well. So that's the process. You go step by step in terms of the different categories, and starting with your wardrobe, then you will, even in your wardrobe, you go through a certain order. You go through tops, you go through bottoms, you go through the clothes that are in your wardrobe hanging up, your socks, your underwear, etc., etc. And then for each of those different categories, you're going to pick up each individual item. You're going to ask yourself, does it spark joy? Tune in intuitively whether or not it does. See how your body is responding to that, and if you want it to stay with you, then keep it, and if not, let it go and trust that that's the right thing. So it took me an entire day to do this. I could not believe I pulled out over 300 items collectively from my wardrobe. This is including hats and belts and, all the different things, bags, shoes, all the different seasonal shoes that I had. I just could not believe it. I thought that I was a person. I've identified as a person that's quite minimal all this time. So it was really astounding that I was sitting on all of this. I decluttered more than half of those 300 items. So let me just take you through what I learned about myself in that process, because it wasn't just about tidying up. This is the beautiful thing about decluttering. It was not just, let's just put this mess somewhere else and let's get rid of some stuff we don't need. What I noticed as I was sorting through my wardrobe in particular was that I had a lot of past focus mentality going on. My mindset was really set in the past. I was hanging on to this past, and this came in the form of clothes from pre-pregnancy. My life was very different. I used to travel for work more. I used to go to more events for work. As part of like my coaching and stuff, I used to go to gatherings. There would be lunches out, there would be dinners out. It was very, very different. I also went through a process of losing a lot of weight. And one of my friends who's a stylist actually took me through the process of getting my colors done. And she taught me a little bit about actually what suits my body shape. So she helped me to pick out some really, really beautiful clothes that changed my mindset completely. I went from a person who used to hide and wear a lot of black and wear a lot of baggy stuff and kind of hope that no one noticed me, to really becoming a lot more confident with being seen and just being me and taking up presence and space in the world. So it's like all of these clothes suddenly had this identity on them that I was clinging onto. And I had all these beautiful clothes stashed under my bed, and thinking to myself, well, I was doing weight loss coaching before my daughter came along. I'm just going to use those techniques again and I'll lose the weight really quickly. And that didn't happen for a variety of reasons, which this video is not about. I'll probably make a video about that at some point. But there was always this idea in my mind, well, I'll fit back into them one day. And as I was going through this process of looking at these beautiful dresses, like one in particular, a yellow summer dress that I absolutely adored and I used to wear a lot when it was hot. And I was like, you know what? But this doesn't even suit my lifestyle. Even if I lost 2 dress sizes and I could wear that dress again, it's not practical for being a mum of a young daughter like that. I'm running around the park. I'm, taking her to swimming lessons. I'm feeding her and cooking all the time and getting covered in food. And I don't think I really own anything that doesn't have stains right now. Like it's a bit crazy. So, these don't even fit my lifestyle. There's not a match anymore. I found actually EFT tapping, which is one of my favorite techniques, was really helpful through this process because it actually brought up quite a lot. Like I realized just how much I was holding on to that past version of myself, and then thinking about how I just needed to embrace being in the now and just, it's okay to just hang out in yoga pants and t-shirts most of the time. And then dress up for me might just be a pair of jeans and a nicer top. It's not anything fancy, or maybe like a nice summer dress in the summer in the park, but it's very kind of minimal now, my wardrobe, and that's okay. So that was a really interesting thing to learn. So that's the first thing I noticed through this process, is really understanding that past focus. The second thing that came up for me was a scarcity mindset, which was really running the show. I was really fearful that I wouldn't be able to afford some of these really nice clothes again. It's like I said, my friend took me shopping. She taught me quite a lot about what suited my body shape, and she helped me to find some really nice things. And so when I was looking at these pieces and thinking, oh gosh, like, I don't know if I'll be able to afford this again. There was just this recurring thought pattern. And this scarcity mindset does come up for me at various different stages. And, it's just one of those kind of recurring belief systems that comes up again and again. I know I'm not the only person that suffers with this, because I've coached many people through scarcity mindset. And, I think it's just one of those things that maybe we need to be aware of, like new level, new devil. Sometimes as our life changes, these belief systems will crop up again. And if you can spot them and be aware, like, oh, it's just my scarcity mindset popping up again. This is not a real thing. There's nothing factual saying that I will not be able to have something as lovely as this again in the future. And so the remedy for me when it comes to scarcity mindset, and I learned this from a number of different manifestation teachers, is generosity. So really switching that around. And so even though I'm feeling scarce, even though I'm thinking, I don't know if I can have something as nice as this in the future, actually, if I can change that around again to be like, you know what, but what if I can pay this forward? What if I can donate this and it gets new life? What if I can, get someone to, they might find that in a charity shop and be like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. And isn't that a beautiful thing to do? Or maybe I can sell it really cheap on Vinted or eBay, and then someone else will actually love getting a bargain like that and give it all the love and actually wear it out and about, instead of it being stored in a bag under my bed. So that's a really good remedy for me when the scarcity mindset comes up. And then finally, I realized how critical I was being of my body image again. And again, this is something that, as someone who's yo-yo dieted throughout her life, I have done a lot of work on in the past. I used to be a weight loss coach, weight loss mindset coach. So I did a lot of work with body image with women and weight loss mindset. And then I realized all of this is creeping back again, and for me, so again, it's just understanding that this is there and seeing that I'm not accepting myself at this stage. I'm not accepting myself at this stage of where I'm at with my body shape. I wasn't showing gratitude for the amazing things that my body has done, like bringing a child into this world and being really strong, like how much my strength has improved as a fitness metric since having my daughter, and how I can pick her up and I can carry her from one end of the garden to the other. If necessary, I can even carry her back from the shops if she doesn't want to walk herself, and it's like, wow, isn't that amazing? And I'm just ignoring all of this incredible stuff that's happening in my body, and just subconsciously, I think, in a way, I don't think I was even really conscious of these thoughts, but actually thinking so much about how being 2 dress sizes smaller and how nice will it be and I'll be able to get back in those clothes. And I just really realized how unhappy I was feeling in my body. So I was able to create space in my wardrobe. I've now created space and allowed the idea that I can actually have some new clothes, and they're at my current size. I haven't filled my wardrobe with that yet, but I've got plenty in there to keep me going for now. And over time, of course, I don't have to stay at this body weight. I know that that's a struggle that a lot of women have, but I can still aim to come back into a body size that feels healthy for my frame. And I don't have to torment myself about the fact that there's 2 dress sizes, the difference in my body between before I had my daughter and after I had my daughter. So, that I can release those clothes. I don't have to hold them there to kind of torment me or hang over my head like I have to fit back into these and I'm a bad person if I don't. Do you know what? I'm going to let it go, pay it forward, and accept myself where I'm at right now, and then have a great wardrobe that is actually fitting my lifestyle where I'm at right now, that actually fits me, feels comfortable, and that I really enjoy wearing. So I learned a lot through this process. I'm a coach. I've done this a lot over the years. As I mentioned earlier, I've used decluttering as a tool in manifestation for over a decade now. And it was really interesting for me to go through this process as I kind of slipped back into that mentality so unconsciously, to have all this clutter hanging around. And this is only my wardrobe. So my next step with Marie Kondo's book is to go on to books next. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes up from that whole process as well. So I want to invite you, if you're feeling anything like I did, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling pressure, if you're feeling mentally cluttered, if you look around and see that there's clutter in your environment, maybe this is an invitation to perhaps take part in this process as well. See if you can clear some space in your life, see if you can clear some space in your environment, and then get that mental clarity back. And also do that healing and release those old parts of yourself that are no longer serving you. So if you're feeling inspired to declutter and manifest more, then let's talk about how I can support you. You can book a free clarity call. I've got a link down below so you can go and check my calendar and book a time that works for you. So I hope that was helpful. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are in the comments.